it's 2025. We are no longer playing Build-A-Boy girls. Girls, women, all of you, like we cannot play this role and think that it's going to work out in our favor. We cannot build a relationship based on what they would change. And something that I've learned is like, if you can't accept them exactly as they are right now, love them fully, wholly, and completely exactly as they are right now, why are you even entertaining it? Hold your standards really high. Know that you're worth it. Do all the work on yourself. Learn to love your time on your own. Learn to love and appreciate the space and time that you have and realize like you actually don't need anyone outside yourself. They are meant to complement you in order to build a life together. Hello, you guys. Welcome to this week's episode of the Expand and Evolve podcast. I wanted to talk about playing Build-A-Boy and falling in love with potential. Okay. So this is going to be a little bit of like think of me as like your big sister, tough love chat, because I think as women, we need to hear this. And if any of you are anything like me, I used to think some of my now values and perspectives, I used to think were shallow. I used to think were setting my standards too high. I used to think was being a gold digger. I used to think love is love and like none of these other things matter. And I was young. Like these are fundamental values and beliefs that I held when I was a teenager that I carried into adulthood. And so of course, dating and finding a partner and being with somebody is so different at 30 than when I was 16. Okay. So some of those things that I used to believe, just as an example, like I used to think I would hear my friends talk about like, I'm going to find a guy with money and like, I'm going to make sure he can take care of me and all of these things. And I'd be like, why do you guys say that? Like, why would you look for a guy who can do that? Why wouldn't you just want to find someone that you love and like that you guys love each other? And like, why do you care if he makes money? And I used to really feel that. And obviously, as I've gotten older, I also realized the flip side of that, of truly playing Build-A-Boy and thinking like it's like that whole vision of wanting to build something together and build an empire together. And I think because I had that dream of doing that, I was willing to fall in love with potential of what it could be rather than what it was. And with getting a little older, finding my worth, getting really solid in who I am and my foundations and my own beliefs, I just don't think I can never see myself ever playing that role again. But I wanted to kind of talk about what that looks like, because I think for some of us, we can still feel like it is shallow to say out loud, like, yeah, we want a guy we're attracted to. I used to feel like sometimes maybe my standards were too high. Maybe I needed to try the guy that I wasn't really attracted to in order to see if like that's what love was, right? And you go through these different waves. And I've come to a place where I have a podcast on this. It's called the PPV list. Danny Morrell taught me this, where it's presence, personality, and values, and holding true to what it is you really want. Everyone is unique. Everyone is interested in different things, but like I know what I'm attracted to and what I'm not, and staying true to that and like being okay not giving everybody a chance. Like I think this is another thing where I used to feel like I was a bitch if I didn't just give everybody a chance. Because like, don't judge a book by its cover. You never know. And it's like, I can feel that like I feel literally nothing and I don't even have the slightest interest in getting to know you. Why should I have to do that in order to be polite? Like there's just so much here. Okay. So anyways, I just really wanted to talk about that. All right. So that's what this is going to be about. I don't know how long it's going to be, but I've been loving the term, just like the term Build-A-Boy, like, the shop Build-A-Bear. Like I played Build-A-Boy for a long time. Like I dated these guys who at face value, I had a dream of who they could be rather than who they showed me that they were at the time. And obviously being younger, like being 16, being 19, being 21, obviously a guy at 21 has not built his whole life and built a career. So like there's wiggle room there in order like to just know that they could become something and could have potential. But now at 30, I'm like, yeah, like what you are is what we get, and to trust that and to believe that, because I think so often we're like, but like he could become this. And like, if he just went to therapy, if he just went and did plant medicine, if he just like went and read a book, if he just went and started a business, if he just like, if this just changed or this just changed. And it's like, we cannot build a relationship based on what they would change. And something that I've learned is like, if you can't accept them exactly as they are right now, love them fully, wholly, and completely exactly as they are right now, why are you even entertaining it? You shouldn't go into a relationship wanting them to be anything different than who they are and trusting who they present themselves as. If they're presenting as one way to you, and you in your head have a different idea about who they could be, trust what they are presenting themselves as, especially in a male-female relationship. I feel like men typically, I've learned this, can talk a lot of shiz. And I didn't know this because like I'm someone who I take everything for face value. I like trust everything someone's saying. I assume everyone is telling the truth. I assume everyone is being honest and truthful and has integrity. That's not the case. Like lots of people will bullshit, right? And so it's like having good bullshit radar where like you don't just fall for what these men are saying. It's like make sure that their actions actually follow the words they are saying to you. Because this is something for me for so long. Like I'm this little naive little girl that I'm like, you say something to me, I trust you, I believe you, and then you don't follow through on that. And so I've gotten a lot better at really truly seeing like say whatever you want, but at least until there's action to follow up and truly show me that you mean what you say and you're a man of your word and there's integrity there, I don't care. Like I used to fall for the fluff and be like, "Oh my God, he thinks I'm amazing." And like, and like obviously stuff like that feels good, but I'm like, if you do nothing with all of that talk, it means nothing, right? And so I finally had to be like, that's okay. That's not shallow to feel that way. That's just like, show me. And I've gotten to this place where it's like, yeah, you seem great, but so does everybody. Everybody presents themselves as great in the beginning. Most people seem really awesome when you first meet them. Most people are. Most people are inherently good. Most people are great. They're great people. Doesn't mean it's going to make a great life partner. Doesn't mean it's going to make a great husband, and doesn't mean it's going to be someone that you should date. And this has been something else that I've had to learn is like, just because there's chemistry and compatibility does not equate to being good, like a good partnership where it's like, it makes sense. And this is something that I never used to also think about. It was fully like, but we like had a, what do you call it? We like, what is it? Like there was a spark and like we had so much fun. And for me, I'm like, yeah, any date I've been on has been awesome. And I saw this video once where it was like, maybe you're the fun one. Like everywhere you go, you're going to have fun because it's you. And I was like, oh, maybe that too. Like these guys, I'm sure are awesome and they're great, but also I'm great. And so I'm going to have fun pretty much wherever I go. And I'm also not willing to just go on a date with anybody. Like I'm going to get to know you a little bit to see if it's even worth my time to go on that date. And I know some people feel like you just need to date around and like be willing to date anybody. And for me, I just really feel like my life is so busy. I talk to so many people. I have kids. Like my life is busy. So to just go on random dates, like to me, I'm like, I want to talk to you on the phone. I want to get to know you a little bit. This was something else I had to realize. I get to set my own standards of how I want to date. I get to decide what this looks like. I used to think like, well, how do other people date? And like, should I be doing this? And should I be doing that? And I was like, no, before I ever meet you or go on a date with you, I'm going to talk to you at least a little. I would like to also see your Instagram or like who you are if you have Instagram. I like to like engage in stories a little bit for me personally because I'm like, then I get to know a little bit about who you are in your life. What do you do with your time? Like, what are you interested in, especially in the world of social media? Like if they have social, I think that's helpful. You get to see like their day-to-day life. Maybe we message a little bit back and forth. Then we can jump on a call because there's a little level of like connection and trust built. Then we jump on a call. And if I still feel like you seem cool, then I will commit a time to you to go meet you. But like, I am not going on a random, I don't feel comfortable with that. I don't like it. And so it was for me getting okay to be like, just because someone else thinks that you should just go on a date and they don't like to do the phone calls while they're talking, I do. And I don't want to take 2-4 hours out of my life to go meet somebody if we can't even have a conversation first. And I had to get okay with like creating that standard of what feels good to me in order to go on a date. And I think this is something as women we need to realize is like we can call the shots on what we want to do when it comes to dating. If you don't want to just meet a random stranger, don't. If you want to talk to them on the phone first, great. If they think that's too much effort because they just want to be able to meet you and like get that high of that and like hopefully sleep with you, I'm good. Like why would I even waste my time with somebody like that? So I think really being okay with like what feels good and true to you is exactly how you should be dating, in my opinion. Like get clear on what feels good to you and go do that. I went on a total dating tangent, but anyway, I think it matters because when we're talking about build a boy, typically it's like we're dating or we have boyfriends, or even maybe you're listening to this and you're married and it's like, stop thinking that you need to build him up and do everything for him, especially when we're 30 plus, you guys. Like they are grown ass men. I'm talking about obviously if you're dating a man or with a man, but like they're grown men. And if you feel like you need to coach them or raise them or teach them or guide them or mold them in any way to train them to be what you want them to be, I just feel like that's so messed up on so many levels. And I'm like, ultimately, you can't respect him. If you feel like you can control him, mold him, and make him into what you want him to be, there's no way there's a level of respect there. If anything, I feel like that's coming from a really wounded place where it's like you don't trust men, you actually kind of hate them. And so you pick the most docile one to mold into what you want because you want the relationship and you want a man, but you also don't want to risk being hurt. So like you pick the docile one because you're like, well, I can be the alpha and like control him and make him what I want him to be. And that's safe. And if I can control him, then that's safe to me. And that makes me feel okay because like I've been abused or been in shitty relationships or been cheated on or whatever. And I understand it. I've been that type of person too. But ultimately it's like to actually have a relationship last, the most important thing between a man and a woman, like the woman has to respect the man. You need to trust him to lead and respect him. And as soon as that is broken, your relationship is going to crumble if it doesn't get repaired. Like that is something that is so, so major and so, so key. And so it's like when you're thinking about dating or you're thinking about building a boy, it's like there's no level of respect there. If you feel like you need to build this man up to be what you want him to be, you don't respect him. And that's something that I had to realize, like, shit, like that's how I used to be. I was like, it's okay. It doesn't matter what they are. Like I can change him and I can make him what I want. And I can like, I'll be the one to make it different. I know he cheated on everyone before him, but he won't cheat on me because I'm amazing and I'll make it different. You guys know, if you're girls, we do this stuff. We also have a fantasy in our minds of this like relationship and this love story and how we imagine our lives to be, which I believe is true for you. Like whatever that love story is you imagine in your mind, I believe is there because it's meant for you. But what I find happens is like a prospect comes in and we put them into the story. It's like, oh, well, you fit. And we like plop them into the story rather than allowing the story to unfold to see if like that's the person that's meant to be that role with you. Do you know what I mean? So it's like the second that you have someone that suits you or fits the situation and like the love story that you have and the dream that you have, we can just like plop them in like a character. And it's like, that's not real life. So it's like, for me, I've just realized, okay, slow down when you're meeting people. Oops, sorry. I used to get so all in. Like this is something that I used to do too. I would like let's say we go on a date, we hang out, I like you, everything seems great, there's chemistry, there's compatibility, we're having so much fun, I get all like giddy and I'm ready to marry you. That's how I used to be. It's like, you seem great and you're so amazing. And so like, okay, great, let's like have this love story unfold so that we can get married and have babies and like the end, happily ever after. And I had to realize, no, slow down and realize that like, let these men, I'm saying like a lot because I didn't really think through what I was going to say first. So I'm just rambling. But to truly be able to think through, like, who are they? Are they showing you who they are? Do they really fit? Have you taken a chance to get to know them? Slow down before you go all in with your love story and delusions and place it upon that person. And this is something that's taken me time to see and understand. And I feel like for me personally in the dating world, I feel like it typically takes at least every other person that I've dated in my life or like has become a boyfriend, like by 2 years, I feel like you really know them, right? And so if you're just dating someone in the beginning, this has turned into a dating episode versus build a boy, but I guess they're related. But it's like when you just start to date someone, for example, you don't know them. You know what they're presenting as. And so I think there's that time where it can seem amazing and maybe it will be amazing. Maybe this will be your person forever, but let them show you over time. Let yourself build that trust that like, okay, they are a person of their word. Okay, they do follow through on what they say they're going to do. Like allow that to unfold over time before you just, I heard this once too. I feel like I talked about this on a podcast before where like men start you at 0 and women start men at 100. And then it's like, as time goes by, you start to realize like, oh, they're not perfect. Oh, they're not everything that I imagined them to be. There's a little bit of faults there. And then we start to acknowledge that. But in the beginning, we start them at 100, where men start us at like 0. They're like, okay, cool, you're pretty, but like, it doesn't matter. They're not in love with you yet. They haven't built that like deep, deep connection yet where they've put you at a higher level. And so it's like, if you know that too, men will their whole thing is like, there's so many birds flying overhead. Their whole thing is wanting to win you in a sense, right? So if you think about it, it's like, what's the right terminology for this? Not a predator. That's completely wrong. What are these birds doing? But like when you think about it, they like to, I don't want to call it hunting, but in a sense, it's like they like to win the prize, right? And so they want to be able to court you and like take you out and try to get your attention and try to win you essentially, right? And so it's like if you're really easily think that they're so amazing and they know that they have you that quickly, I just feel like I don't know. It's like give them a chance to really show how much they want this. Does that make sense? And something that I've realized, let's go back to the Build-A-Boy thing, because I went on an entire 15-minute tangent about dating. But when it comes to the Build-A-Boy thing, it's just, I truly don't think it can work. Like unless you're young and you're not established and you're both in a building phase, then 100% go build a life together. And of course, there's an element of building a life together. But like, if you're growth minded as a woman, okay, you're growth minded, you are successful, you've already figured out your life, you have a job, you've figured out all of that. You're growth minded in the sense that like you do personal growth, you do development, you've like done some healing, you've looked at your internal stuff, you've worked on that. And then you meet this man and and I don't mean it in a hierarchical way, but like frequency wise, you're operating up here. And you see the world different. And like, especially if you've sat with plant medicine or something to try, I feel to build a relationship at this point with someone who hasn't, I honestly think would be really challenging and tough. Like, I think for me to build a life with a life partner, I'm going to go on record and say it. Like, I don't think it can work unless they've sat with plant medicine. I just don't. Like you see life so differently. And it's something that I don't want to fight to try to explain or help somebody understand. It's like you either get it or you don't. And that's me personally because of my life experience. The same way for you, that could matter not at all. Like that could not matter to you at all. And that's great. So it's like if I'm sitting here in this frequency of like, I don't know, the energy of love, let's say, and joy, because I've done the work, I've done so much healing, I've let so much go. I don't operate out of anger. I like have really combated operating from my ego. Obviously, it's always going to be there, but like, you know, the differentiation, right? If I'm in that place and I'm very growth focused, and then I have this boy, I'll call him a boy instead of a man, because to me, I'm like, you become a man when you learn to figure your own life out. And until you do that, like I used to play around with boys because I didn't understand the difference. And now I'm like, okay, if I'm a grown ass woman who's been able to figure out my own life, go be able to make myself money, go be able to raise kids, go be able to do all these things I've been able to do the healing work through my freaking relationship stuff and past traumas, like bring awareness to that. And then I go date the guy who doesn't even have his life figured out, like at all. And is like, but I want to be on your level. And like, I'm just thinking, like I had this one guy, what did he say one time? It was like, I just want to be oh my God, what was it? I just remember it being like, at the time thinking it was cute, that it was like, oh, he can tell that like I'm ahead of him in the sense of like my business and stuff like that. And I remember him being like, I'm just like trying to build to be where you're at. And like, I just wish that I was further ahead for you. And I wish that I was this for you. Like, you know, that type of stuff. Like, I wish I was where you're at, or like, I wish I started building sooner so I could be on your level so that I could be good enough for you. Like stuff like, you know, that type of talk. And I remember at the time being like, oh, that's so cute. Like, it doesn't matter. It's okay. No problem. Like, you can totally get there. Like, don't compare that, because I was still in that phase of feeling like I didn't want to be a gold digger. And I also never wanted money to matter in terms of like a love relationship until I started understanding that like the ability to make money is a frequency of how you operate. It means that you've figured out different like life codes, right? Like if you've learned how to build a business and you've learned how to become successful in whatever you're doing, you've cleared like a layer of the game, right? Where you understand life a little different. And so to me, it's like, why would I go back to trying to help a guy move through that? It doesn't mean that it's not okay that he hasn't moved through that, but it's like, I'm not going to be the one to coach him and build him through that. Does that make sense? Like if I'm seeing you and you're still on your journey and like you're going in that direction, amazing. If I deeply believe in you and I believe that you can become someone who like is already on that journey, or you are on that journey already, we don't have to be 100% equal in every single area, but it's like, I need to I don't want to be the one mothering. Does this make sense? Like, I don't want to ever be the one coming into you and being like, it's okay that you're not on my level. It's okay, like, that you don't have anything in your life figured out. I'll help you. I'll build you up. I'll come play Build-A-Boy and like help you do the personal growth and help you build a business. I used to do that shit. One of my ex-boyfriends, you guys, I did his school work. I would write his freaking papers for this man. Like, I would do all that kind of stuff. And it's like, at this point in my life, I'm like, if I've been able to do this for me, at bare minimum, you should be able to do this for you too. So that's the point I'm trying to get across amongst all of this rambling, is that like, at bare minimum, they should be able to do that for themselves. You should not, as a woman, feel like you need to be the one to coach them or build them through it. You don't have to be 100% perfectly equal, all that. But isn't that the Bible that talks about like being equally yoked? I feel like it, for a relationship to truly work, one can't be here and one's here. And on consciousness levels is what I mean, more than hierarchy. It's like, if one person's consciousness is here and the other one is here, you're going to be like fighting all of the time to try to come here. And so it's like, ultimately, if your consciousness level is here, another person's consciousness level is way down here, one of you either has to grow to here or another one of you has to drop down. And I'm like, I have done too much to like bring myself down back to another level. Is this making sense? Okay. Are we getting it? Man, I thought, like, I swear, these podcasts where I just ramble, sometimes I'm like, I wish I articulated this better, but then you guys sometimes really love them. So we're just going to throw it out there. But truly, I just feel like it's 2025. We are no longer playing Build-A-Boy girls, women, all of you. Like, we cannot play this role and think that it's going to work out in our favor. Okay? Do you guys get it? Or do you get it? I'm like, I just know for me, there's like so much nature happening out here. It's very distracting. I just know for me too. What was I going to say? I just know for myself, like, I really used to feel that it was shallow and that I was being a gold digger to like care that they even had some level of financial stability or success. And it's like, that's essential, you guys. Like, we can't be taking in a man who is dealing with financial burdens and financial stress. Because for me, I'm like, I don't want, my life is so peaceful. Why would I add that in? If anything, it's like, especially as women, I was watching this video earlier and it was talking about like American men versus men in Europe and how they just assume like, of course I take care of my wife. Of course I take care of my wife. I'm like, what? Like, she doesn't need to work. Where in America, it's like, it's 50-50. And like, yeah, there's 50-50 in the sense of like what you contribute to a relationship. But financially, I'm like, why do I have to always be the one that's making the money? Like, you know? And so I was like, okay, I need to get okay. I'm going to link the PPV episode actually. But it's like, I need to be okay with saying out loud, yeah, I expect them to make good money because I make good money. And I think that we need to be equal in that sense. So I don't know. I really feel like it's so many of us do this because we have a good heart and we really care about people and we see the potential in them and we know how amazing they are and could be. And I'm like, but that's everybody on this planet. And when it comes to picking someone you're going to build a relationship with and a life with, we need to get a little bit more, not even raise our standards, just a little bit more clear and a little bit more direct. What's the word I'm trying to think of? I wish I had English words in my head right now. What is happening? Concise, direct. I don't know. Basically those words. I should have eaten before this too. I feel like that's my problem. I'm like excited and I want to come up here and I want to talk and I want to do this thing. And then I like don't eat first and then my brain doesn't work. But ultimately I think it's so important that we're okay getting clear with what matters to us. Like if money doesn't matter to you and like you don't care because you don't really make money and it's not important to you, that's fine. For me though, in the life I want to live, I don't ever want to take on like taking care of a man ever again financially. I also don't want to have to build him up. It's like, be built. Like if I've done all this work, I've gone and done these healing retreats and these healing journeys, and I've freaking cried to the depths over the last 2 years and like navigated all of this and built a business and done these things. Like you should bare minimum have been able to do that yourself too. I am not here to be your coach. And I also think as women, when we try to play that role, it doesn't work. It does not work. It might work in the beginning, but it's like long term when you're thinking about having a husband, like it doesn't work. Like they've got to be able to do that on their own. So basically, that's it. That's what I want you guys to know is no more playing Build-A-Boy. Let them come to you built. If you have built yourself, let them come to you as built men. Like that they've gone and done this journey. And if I can say anything from my experience over the last like 2 years or so, and the little bit of dating I've done, because I haven't done a lot, the men that I have dated are on their own journeys. They're not coming to me to coach them and like try to bring them up. Like they literally have gone on their own healing journey. They've gone on their own faith-based journey. They've taken the steps to go build themselves up and like get to know themselves and build businesses or like grow in their careers. Like they are doing that without me having to tell them to do that. And I think that's the main part of this is you shouldn't have to tell him and help encourage him to go become the man he's meant to be. He needs to find that inspiration within, and you can be that inspiration. Like when he sees you, you can inspire him and it could be like, holy crap, I want to become a better man because of you. That's fine. But you're not pushing him to become a better man. Does this make sense? Like he knows he needs to go on that journey to become a better man for you, and he takes himself on it. He leads himself on that journey. Because I think what happens is we as women, we're like, it's okay. And like, we're so cute and it's fine. It doesn't matter. And we like forget to talk about longevity and vision and values and like these things that are really, really important to build a life partnership with. And so we don't talk about these things. And it's like, we want this man to, you know, build a life with and build a relationship with. But for me, I'm like, if he cannot lead himself, how can you trust him to lead you and a family? And coming back to like those biblical principles, truly there is so much value there because it's true. Like the man should be the head of the household. You should be able to rest easy in trusting him to lead you and your family. You shouldn't be stressed about his decisions. You shouldn't be stressed about the financial like implications of his decisions where you're always worried about what he's going to do because you think he's stupid and you don't respect him. Like, no, you should be able to be like, I know he's got this. I'm going to be there for him. I'm going to be there to support him and encourage him and be the biggest cheerleader and biggest believer. But like, I'm not going to try to pull him there or coach him there. I know he's got it. And I'm here to be his cheerleader in the back of that. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Where it's like, you're not trying to pull them. That's the biggest part. They can be building themselves up. They can be becoming a better man. They can be on that journey, but you can't be the one to like push them to go. Like if you just went to therapy, like, come on, let's go to therapy, like dragging them, it doesn't work. So if he doesn't come to you already on that journey, don't entertain it. Get really clear on what you want in a partner and stick to it. This has been something that I've had to learn, being okay with like saying no to everything pretty much. Like most people that want to go out with me, I'm like, no, 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 no. Being okay saying no. I used to think it made me a bitch. Like if I judged you for not making as much money as me or like not looking like you take care of yourself and me saying no, it was like, I'm a bitch. It's like, no, I'm not. I have standards that equal me or better. And I saw this clip the other day that was like, it was a girl talking about like, if he's not better than me, I'm going to eat him alive. Because as women, it's like they need to have this level that you respect them and like what they've done or like who they are. And I was like, how amazing will that be when I can like look at my dude or my man, whatever you want to call him, and be like, wow, like I respect you and I know you've got this. I can rest easy and trust that you can handle yourself and you have got it. And I don't need to be your coach. I don't need to be your encourager. I do that enough with what I do. So anyways, I just wanted to say that it's 2025. We're no longer playing Build-A-Boy, and I'm no longer going to coach any man to become anything. You either are becoming it or this won't work. And I think that's it. So hold your standards really high. Don't feel bad about it. And when you think about the PPV list, I think I'll post that episode here in the show notes. But like, you have to also be that too. So it's like, I would never ask for something I can't also be. So for example, if you're not healthy, but you want the man with a six pack, for example, it's like, do you also prioritize your health and wellness? So getting very honest that it's like the things that you want, are you of equal level to that? And then trusting that this vision that you have for like this person exists and not feeling bad about holding to that thing. Because I used to feel bad about it. I used to feel like, I don't know, like I was selfish and shallow and that the world and life is not about that. And then I was like, no, if I'm going to spend my life with you, I want to be attracted to you. Yep. I want to feel like I can trust you and you can lead me and that you're a man of integrity. Yep. I'm not going to fall for the fact that you just like look cute. Okay. Like to me, it's like, that's the part though, is before I would see these guys that were good looking and like that would pull me in. And it's like, you can be cute, but like, what else do you have to offer? And I think both sides need to feel that, where it's like, if a guy, for example, saw me, he's like, oh my God, I love how she looks. And like, I want him to have the consciousness and awareness to be like, I like how she looks. And like, who is she? Like that shouldn't be the only thing that matters or that pulls you in. So yeah, let me look at my notes. I did write a note. Let's just see. Yeah, falling in love with potential. And I wrote this, if you're mothering him and you can control him, that means there's zero respect. And if you don't respect your man, eventually it leads to resentment. So you have to let him lead himself in order to know that he would be able to lead you as well. And you need to also see clearly over time that he knows how to lead himself and that he knows how to grow and that he knows how to handle himself and that the principles that he sells you on at the beginning are actually true to who he is, which you can only find out over time. So really trusting the timing of it, where it's like you can appear amazing and in the first 90 days you seem so great, and I'm sure that that's awesome and true, but you're also on love drunk hormones for the first 90 days. So it's like, is he still presenting as that same person in 6 months, 9 months, 12 months from now? Getting to know him and ensuring that like it wasn't all a facade to win you over. It's actually the truth of who he is. Like that's really important. And then in terms of if you're a growth-minded person, making sure that you're also looking for that in a partnership, because I think there's some people who are so okay being where they're at. Like they don't care about growing. They don't care about being the most abundant version of themselves of this life and like seeing what they can accomplish and what they can achieve and like where they can go in this life. They don't care about that. And so it's like they should be with someone who also doesn't care about that. But to have you on two totally opposite spectrums, where like for me, I'm like, where can I go and what can I achieve? And like how, okay, like I got here and like, where could I go next? And like, what can I really make of this life? Like I'm very growth minded. So to be with someone who isn't, it doesn't work. As much as you can be so cute, we can get along so well, it's not going to work. So understanding as soon as you sense that and can see that with the person, it's okay that you have chemistry and compatibility. It doesn't mean that person needs to be your life partner, and it's okay. It doesn't mean that you're not choosing each other and don't want each other. It's like, it's just not meant to be as a life partner, but you can still love them and appreciate them from afar. Okay. Yeah. What else? And that's pretty much it. And just knowing that when I didn't really have full self-worth within myself, I really fell for like the fluff, like all the fluff that guys had at the beginning. I thought it indicated who they were and how much they liked me. And now I'm like, okay, like, okay, what else do you have to show me? And this other guy the other day actually sent me flowers, and we never gone on a date. Like we haven't even really talked, but it was like, yeah, okay, I've never been treated like this, but it's like, yeah, you need someone to show you with acts, like physical acts for their commitment to like what they want this to be, and like let them work for it a little. I think what I used to do when I was younger, it's like, oh my God, I like you. And so like, I like you and I'm going to let you know because I'm going to do everything for you. Like I'm going to come drop off lunch for you and I'm going to come stay, like do, I don't know, what would I do? Like make their lunches or go bring them food or go bring a card, and I do all this cute stuff, which is me. And I'm not going to do that, but it's like, let the man do that. I remember when I went on a first date, it was his birthday, like 2 days later. And I was like, I want to send him something. And my friend was like, don't, like, he hasn't done anything for you. And that was something for me to learn, like, whoa, you're right. Like I need to stop doing all this stuff for these guys and let them actually show me and let them do things for me before I go all in and like give them my whole girlfriend and wife self. You know what I'm saying? So that was a learning curve for me, because I was like, why? Like, I don't ever want to not do that and not give them everything that like I can show them that I care, and like, who cares? And we don't need to hold back. And it's not so much that I'm holding back, but it's like, show me, like, cause a guy, like, talk is cheap. And I finally get that, where it's like, okay, and now show me. So yeah, don't play Build-A-Boy. You need to respect the man that you are going to be with and let him show you over time. You are worth it. You need to remind yourself that you are the prize. You are. When you know your worth, you feel that. And draw all of that energy back into you. And you truly become magnetic, and then let them come to you. I feel like it's an essential part of the dating process, is like letting them feel like they get to work for it. And that's something that I didn't used to understand. It was like, but I like you. So like, hey, here I am. Want to be boyfriend, girlfriend for life? Like, that's how I used to be. And so I've just realized, like, I'm good. Like, show me why we should date, you know? Hope that makes sense. Anyways, that was 35 minutes. It was supposed to be all about not playing Build-A-Boy and letting them show you who, I guess I got the point across. I'm sure you guys get it. But anyways, hold your standards really high. Know that you're worth it. Do all the work on yourself. Learn to love your time on your own. Learn to love and appreciate the space and time that you have, and realize like you actually don't need anyone outside yourself. They are meant to complement you in order to build a life together. And I still very much want to build a life together. I want to do all of that. Like, yes, let's build an empire together, but like, I can't be the one to build you up in order to build that life, you know? Get it? Okay. Get it? Awesome. Great. Thanks for being here. Hopefully that made sense. If you liked this episode or need to send it to some of your single friends who need the reminder to not go all in for these men that haven't shown that they are deserving of it, send this over to them. And just hold yourself to a higher standard too. Don't be weird and like play games, but let them. And truly, I believe at this point, like if he wanted to, he would. So if he wants to be with you, let him show you. And to me, I'm like, my husband's never going to pass me by. So I don't need to like, oh my God, but if I would have just given this guy this or this guy this, like any of that overthinking stuff, no, it's not worth it. It's like, if he's meant for me, he'll be for me. And that's it. So hopefully that made sense. Love you guys so much. Share this with anyone that you think it would be helpful for. And I will see you in the next episode, hopefully fed and with more articulate, complete ideas. Okay, bye.